episode 3 of a Radiance Revival podcast, and let's talk about that thing that you feel like you're missing from your life. You are listening to a Radiance Revival podcast where we rebirth and unearth your inner brilliance by focusing on love, energy, and freedom. I am your host, coach, and brilliance believer, Kathryn Sogard. In this podcast, you will learn that you are your biggest advocate, fan, and creator of your own destiny by using the radiance you were born with. When you are empowered to use this inner brilliance, you can create your best life. So let's get this Radiance Revival started. So I'm going to be really honest and tell you that this podcast was not severely super prepared, because I think sometimes when we overplan things, we just never get around to doing it. And I think that's kind of been my problem with making podcasts, because I just am never on top of getting the planning done that I believe it takes to create content that is worthy to put out there. But I think sometimes we just fall into that hole and repetitive BS that we're not good enough to develop good enough content to just put it out there. So this is something that's going to be kind of off the cuff and something that I struggle with from time to time and have struggled. It's like a consistent thing throughout my life that I've just always felt like I've been waiting for something, or something is lacking in my life, and it's just not, things are just not the way that I want them to be. I used to call it I was waiting my life away, instead of wasting my life away, I was waiting my life away. I was always waiting for something to happen. I was waiting to be proposed to. I was waiting to get married. I was waiting to have kids. I was waiting to get the job that was perfect for me. And I think sometimes we just get stuck in that cycle. And part of the reason we get stuck in that cycle because we feel like there's something in our life that is missing. There's something that if it were different, our life would be completely different and better. So before we go on, I want you to pause this podcast unless you're driving and take a second to just really sit back and reflect. Is there one thing in your life that you've just been kind of waiting for it to happen? And because if it happens, then this, it's like, if this happens, then this will happen. Think of that one thing that you have been waiting around for, you've been waiting your life away for, because you believe that when that thing happens, your life is going to be completely different. When I get this promotion, I'm going to feel so much better about my life. When I get married, I'm going to feel so much more this about my life. What is that one thing? And get specific, because I know there is. I know there's one thing that you kind of feel like if this were different, my whole life would be different. Now, after you've done that, just keep that, while we're talking about this, just keep that in the back of your mind. So a lot of the time we feel like there's a specific thing missing. If this happened, then my life would be different. But it's really like a deeply rooted something else. It's not really that one specific thing. And the reason I say that is because usually those things don't really change your life. So my perfect example was before I got engaged. My husband and I dated for 10 years. I mean, a freaking long time. And I thought, well, when we get married, everything's going to be different. And I was waiting for an engagement, waiting for an engagement, waiting for engagement, and waiting for engagement, and waiting to get married, and all these things. And one day, I just kind of told myself, what does that really mean? I really took some time to think, what does it really mean? Okay, so our taxes would be different. I would have a sparkly thing on my finger, which I already have plenty of sparkly things. Working at a jewelry store, I already had bought for myself, and he had worked at a jewelry store, so he had bought me some nice sparkly things. So I'd already had a sparkly thing on my finger. I thought, well, I get to change my name. But we lived together for a long time, and we shared pretty much everything. And that's just how it was. So really what was going to change besides the ring, my name, maybe some family members that would get less harpy about us getting married. And there was a fourth thing that I said, taxes. But that's about it. I mean, that was literally all that would change. Everything else we had already merged into our life. And the thing that I decided, really the thing that I thought was going to change was my attitude about how I felt about him. But I thought, well, my name's not really going to change how I feel about him. A sparkly thing on my finger isn't really going to change how I feel about him. My taxes definitely aren't going to change about how I feel about him. I love him. Like, I love him, and I like when we have fun times together. I like when we tease each other. I love annoying the crap out of him. It's so much fun. And I think we kind of do that to each other. So that wasn't going to change. Like, the things that I thought would really change the happiness spectrum, because ultimately all our decisions come down to, we believe if we're waiting for something, we believe that thing coming is going to make us feel better about our life, right? Or we're waiting around to die, and then we just think, there's going to be some sort of relief after life, right? So, I mean, we ultimately feel like if I get a promotion, if I get married, if I have a child, my life is going to be better in some shape or form. But a lot of the times, it's not necessarily going to change a whole heck of a lot, right? Well, obviously a kid, you're going to get less sleep. Like, to be honest, we think we're going to be happier with a child, but, there's a lot of responsibility that comes with those crazy things, man. Like, less sleep. Yeah. Is less sleep really happiness? No, I'm just joshing you. I think there's a lot of good things that come from kids. Don't listen to me. But I think I have spent a lifetime, right? All the years that I've been on this planet, waiting around for things because I believed that, like, if I had them, I would ultimately be better. My life would be better. I'd be happier. I would feel more relaxed. And what it came down to, especially then, was I realized if I couldn't be happy with how my life is now, or really then, a piece of paper with my name change, a diamond ring, and some taxes, we're not going to change that. If I couldn't find happiness in the way that my life was then, a piece of paper was not going to change that, right? So I think one thing that I liked to say to people, I mean, number one, like, when I decided that and I just decided to be happy with my life in itself, it was literally like a month before I got engaged. So a lot of the times you reel in the things that you want when you decide to just be happy with what you have, and grateful for what you have. And then the things that you truly desire just come into your life anyway. So, and how I feel about the law of attraction and all that jazz. So, that's a good thing, but we have to work out with ourselves what is the thing that we can be joyful about, and what is the thing that we can be grateful about, and what is the thing about our life currently that we can just relish in, right? And a lot of the times you hear life coaches or people who are in self-betterment things talking about your purpose. But I think sometimes purpose is such a broad concept that what does that really mean? And there really isn't necessarily a great formula to find your purpose, because everybody's purpose is different. And we all feel different when we're in our purpose, right? And it's not that we necessarily feel different. It's just that we explain how we feel in a different manner because we're different people, right? Different things light you up or make you feel great or make you feel accomplished, whatever that means. I think sometimes we need to take in what lights us up and what is that thing that we could be doing more of in our life that would make us feel enjoyable. Because to me, it was never about being grateful enough, right? Yeah, it was about liking where I was at and being grateful for what I had, but it was also about finding ways that I could do things that in my life that were more often that would light me up. So just spending more time in pure joy, right? In that doing things that just made me feel like, yeah, baby, that catchphrase that I had so much on the, what do you call it? Oh, come on. I just had a brain brain fart there, on a live stream. Ba-bam! You know, the things that just make you feel like, oh, yeah. Okay, maybe that's just me. And see, that's a perfect example. What lights me up and makes me feel jazzed and makes me just feel like, ba-bam, is going to be completely different. And you might not react to like the thing that lights you up in that ba-bam, spitting sparkles type of thing. But that is just kind of like how it is, right? Ah, boy, that doesn't really make sense. But those things that make you feel good, that you just know that you're supposed to be doing, you feel rewarded. Like some people feel like their ba-bam is like, I just feel really good about life. Like I'm just really relaxed and calm, you know, as opposed to like, I get hyped. I'm just like, yeah. I feel like I'm in the right place at the right time, just doing the right exact thing. And I just feel like I'm on top of the world. That's the feeling to me. But for you, it might just be like, man, I just feel really accomplished and I feel light and airy and I just feel like super zen about life and I'm just achieving what I want to achieve. So find more time to do the things that you want to be doing with that, as opposed to, you know, and I love when clients are like, well, if I hire you, you're going to make me quit my job, because that's like how you went about life, right? You quit your job so you could just live out your purpose and just do it and just like pound it out. No, the thing that I like to say is you just got to find more time to be doing the things that you love. And I'm not saying just during your downtime. Like, how can you find joy and fulfillment in the current job that you have? Like, how can you reevaluate your day and work with your current job to be doing the things that just light you up, whatever that may be? So specific ways to figure out how you get that feeling, you know, how you do things that light you up more often. There are tons of practices out there. There are tons of tips out there. There are tons of mentors that can help you. There are tons of books. There's even just going out there and trying new things can really help you find things that light you up. And one thing that I really love giving to people, because it's an easy, relatively quick practice, is writing down things that you like super enjoyed when you were a child. Because I think there's something, when we do stuff as children and we just really, really enjoy them, we enjoy them without being taught that it's something that we enjoy, right? It's not necessarily socially acceptable, or it's not necessarily, we might have been introduced by a friend, but like as children, and I'm talking like 5, 6, 7, when you didn't really care about what the other kids said about what you were doing, but you just did it to do it, you know? Like my husband, his is definitely reading, and he has loved to read like since he could talk, I think. My mother-in-law tells a story about how he was 1 and he could read or recite the Night Before Christmas. And he has continued the rest of his life to read, and it's something that he just really, really, really enjoys. And it lights him up. So how are ways that he can incorporate reading into his life more often, whether that's spending more time at home reading or whether that's learning up at work about different things and reading there, like whatever that might be, but spending more time doing the things that just light you up. And I think the other thing to remember about feeling like you're waiting for something or feeling like something in your life is missing is to remember that that feeling is temporary. It's temporary and you're in control of it even better. So it's not going to last forever, and you get to control how long it lasts and how long you're going to put up with that waiting feeling. And to be honest, I hope that you figure out that it's not worth wasting your life, waiting your life away, because there's so many cool things out there, and you deserve to feel like your life is on fire, or you're just in that calm, reserved, like, I have to remember that not everybody's like, ba-bam! You know, you just feel at peace with your life, regardless, because I ultimately believe that at the end of your life, the one thing you are going to regret if you're going to regret anything, is realizing I didn't take the chances and I didn't do the things that I loved more often. Those are the regrets you're going to have. It's not the times that you